breakdowns during a slow yin class than I have through anything else. You know, I'm on my ish yoga in NorCal though. Yeah, NorCal signing in. Alright. Live yoga via mountains or forest? I think so. Oh, are you out? Are you out and about? I'm going to be streaming from the mountains of Northern California in like 2 weeks. Are you getting a good stream? I'm so curious. Can you see? Is it like good quality? Yeah, I've had more like mental breakdowns. Not mental breakdowns, that sounds really dramatic, and I've had those too, like hospitalized mental breakdowns, so I'm not talking about that. I've had more like breakdown, start crying in class episodes during like yin or like restorative classes than any sort of like power yoga class or anything like that. So when I say easy, I mean slow. I don't really mean easy. I don't think if you're in the true practice of anything, it's easy. Like sometimes you get into a flow state. There's that. There's like, you know, what what's his face? Like Tim Ferriss and people talk about, like, and Julia Cameron, flow state. That's totally true. But easy, I would not say that anything worth doing is very easy. So, yoga's kind of the same way. You put in the effort that works for you today. Like maybe you need to take it easy, in which case, please do. Take it down from a 10. If you're used to giving 100%, like take it easy today, you know? My music stopped. That's sad. Okay. So we're gonna get started here in just about a minute. Everything that I lead you through is just an invitation. Yes, good morning, Eric. Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah, so the live streams don't stay live. I have recordings of them, and then I just have, I give out the link, so feel free to DM me for the link. If you send me a Venmo, I'll have your legal name, so it'll be easy for me to send you the recording. So yeah, everything that I lead you through is an invitation. Don't feel like it has to look exactly the way I'm doing it. It's very little about what it looks like and very much about what it feels like. So it's not a dance routine. You don't have to keep up with me. It's all about syncing with your own breath. So we're trying to match the speed of your body to the length of your breath. So we're slowing down the breath so we can slow down the body. Yeah. Pause this, and we'll get started with our seated meditation, our seated grounding. So you could be seated anywhere you'd like. You can even be doing this in a chair. That's just fine. If you're seated on the floor, I like sitting in Sukhasana. That's cross-legged position. If this brings any pain to your lower back, or you have to hunch over to like make this happen, just sit your hips up on top of blocks to get your hips higher than your knees. My knees are always higher than my hips. My knees don't touch the ground, but it doesn't bother my lower back at all. So I like to sit this way. I'm just used to it. Let's see. Make sure everything is off, no distractions. Okay. Heart comes over hips, head over heart. Like there's a string pulling you up from the crown of the head up towards the sky. Hands come to rest on the lap, either palms down to ground down, or palms up to give and receive energy if you feel you've got a little extra to give today. Eyes can close or lower to a soft gaze just ahead of you on the ground. We'll take 3 cleansing breaths, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Shoulders rise up on the inhale. On the exhale, shoulders drop away. And just let the breathing continue in and out through the nose if that's available, returning to your natural pace. And we'll just take a moment here to arrive. Let go of everything that came before and everything that's to come up after. And just become present to yourself here in this moment, here in this space. Beginning to allow sounds into your awareness. Perhaps passing traffic or songbirds outside your window. Maybe the sound of landscapers on Wednesday. Leaf blowing and weed whacking. Letting all sounds in, all part of this moment, this experience. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. And feel the weight where your body makes contact with the ground below you. And weight of your hands on your knees. And begin to scan your body from head down towards toes. Like passing through an X-ray machine, scanning for any points of tightness or sensitivity. Any restlessness or fidgeting. I'm just taking note to work into those spaces that call out to you throughout your movement practice here today. And we'll shift the awareness from Annamaya Kosha, the body, to Pranamaya Kosha, energy. Just notice where you are in this moment on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being exhausted, ready to crawl back into bed, 10 being so full of energy it's hard to sit still. And shifting the focus up to the breath. No need to change it, just observe inhalations, exhalations, and whatever space in between. And shifting the awareness up to the mind, Manomaya Kosha. Allowing thoughts and feelings to arise without engagement. Just observe them from a distance, like an image being projected onto a wall. The story goes on without our participation. Notice what are the quality of the thoughts this morning. Do they have a positive or a negative tilt to them? Are they ruminating on the past or attempting to predict the future? Not good or bad, not right or wrong, just something to notice. And we'll bring the attention back down to the breath. This time actively expanding the breath. Every inhale sips in a little more air. And every exhale lets something more go. Inhale fills belly like a balloon, expanding in volume. Exhale draws belly button in towards spine, deflating, actively pulling in. Inhale fills belly and ribs expanding out to the sides. And exhale releases ribs, then belly. Inhale fills belly, ribs, and chest, air filling up to the collarbones. Exhale releases chest, ribs, belly. Continuing like this, inhaling from bottom to top in 3 parts. Exhaling top to bottom. Last space between top and bottom teeth. Jaw hangs heavy. Relax all the muscles of the face. You're focusing without furrowing your eyebrows. This Dirga Pranayam, 3-part breath, helps move us out of sympathetic fight or flight mode into parasympathetic rest and digest mode, like calming the nervous system. And on that next exhale, just releasing any effort from the breath. Allowing yourself to return to a natural pace, perhaps affected by that pranayam, that breathing exercise. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra, no space between the fingers, thumbs pressed into sternum. Consider here setting an intention or a dedication for your practice. Whatever first comes to mind, perhaps it's the intention, the sankalpa we've been working with all month. And we'll set that intention with the sound of Om. First, a cleansing breath. Allow your hands to release to your lap. Chin drops towards chest. Then inhale, right ear rolls over towards right shoulder. Exhaling, chin to chest. And left ear rolls towards left shoulder. Just allowing the head here to roll side to side. Beginning to open up the space between ear and upper back. The next time the head rolls through center, we'll begin to roll the shoulders forward. You can even keep your eyes closed for this. There's not really a wrong way of doing it. Thanks, Kai. I'll make you a mod later. And roll the shoulders back. Good morning, Beth. You joining? Whole family is joining today. Good morning, Landon. Making tea, setting up. Hey, Pat. Yes, so you guys have met Lucy before. This is Daydream. Some of you know him as Patrick. Joining us for class this morning. I'm coming to stillness in the shoulders. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. And exhale, bend over to the right. Left arm reaches over. Exhaling, the arm comes in front. Left hand follows, making a big organic circle. So there's really no wrong way of doing this. Kai says, hi, Daydream. So we're just waking up the spine here. It's like, don't get hung up on how it's supposed to look. Just see how your back wants to feel and then move in that direction. Then we're going to change directions here, inhaling up through center. Landon, it's great to see you here on a weekday. So as we come over to the left, the right arm will lead, left arm follows. So just like starting with some like free movements that don't have specific names or specific shapes as we wake up the body. So we're not forcing ourselves into anything so early in class. We're just really taking an inventory, like what's clicking, what's cracking, what's sharp or painful, so we can be mindful as we continue throughout our practice. And the next time the arms come up through center, we'll just bend in the elbows, hands come to the ears, and give the hands a shake out, a wave. So just warming up the wrists and the hands here, nice and gentle before we put any weight on them. When the palms turn down, wiggling fingers side to side, like playing the piano really awfully. Don't move your elbows or shoulders, just focusing on the hands and wrists here. Then flipping the palms towards the sky, and we rotate side to side. So you bring your hands back as far as you can. And it takes effort to keep the fingers straight here too. You might even feel it beginning to fatigue your forearms. Like that's how much effort is being put into this. And still we're breathing. So we're saying yoga, the breath ends, the pose ends. So it only counts if you're breathing. All right, and then just shaking off water, nice and gentle. 3, 2, 1. All right, bring the legs out in front. Spread and scrunch the toes. Roll out your ankles. Change directions. We're just waking up the lower legs here. Yeah, upstairs neighbor was a bit loud and woke me up, so I thought it would be a good idea to turn a negative into a positive. Well, I'm always happy to have you here. He woke you up just in time for class. Maybe he was getting ready for class too. So I'm going to bend in the knees, feet come nice and wide. Yesterday we did a lot of really great like plantar, anti-plantar fasciitis type stuff with the feet. We have something like over 8,000 nerve endings in our feet. And it's like really all connected to our central nervous system, which is pretty amazing. If you consider like little feet carry the rest of your weight all day and balance you. So I always like giving them some love. And the next time that the knees fall over to the right, let's bring the right hand close to the ground on the lower, like close to the lower back on the ground. And the left arm is going to sweep up and open, lifting the hips. I'm just drawing a big circle with this arm. Or rather, 3 big circles with this arm while I'm pressing my hips up, giving a nice stretch of the left side body. And then hips touch down. I drop my knees over to the left. Left hand on the ground close to the left hip. And then sweep it up and open. Big circles with this right arm. Any clicking or cracking in the shoulder, like we're just taking inventory. It's not like, oh, this shoulder is better or worse than the other. Like, no, it's just, okay, cool, got that out of the way. And we're releasing the hips down. Nice. Drop the knees back to the right. We're going to come to tabletop pose. How should we do this? Staggered?
You want to have your mat?
No, it's okay. Lucy usually takes my mat, actually, so we can face one another. Is that confusing?
No, you can stagger. We can stagger.
Yeah, let's stagger.
It's like the old Taibo videos.
It's gone right back to the 90s, Fit TV.
You're the black guy.
Except I'm the black guy. Alright, so hands are below the shoulders, knees are below hips. Belly drops, hips and chest rise for cow pose. Inhaling here. And exhale, round the spine. Chin tucks in towards chest. Cat pose. We're pressing the tops of the feet, the shoelace part of the feet, into the ground so hard that the knees lift. Inhaling through cow. Knees release. They don't drop. They touch down slowly. Exhale through that modified cat pose, rounding the spine, pressing into the tops of the feet. Don't let the ankles fall out to the sides. Keep it all centered so the tops of your feet are the ones getting the stretch. Following your breath here, begin to slow your breath down again. So you want to feel as if you're moving through slow motion. My music keeps running away. I'm not really sure why. Okay, we're just going to keep restarting this album. All right. And the next time you exhale through that cat pose, no rush to get there with the toes tucked under. Stay there and the breathing continues. So we're really stretching out the tops of the feet, really rounding through the spine. We've got one more deep breath here. And gently touch the knees down. Nice. We'll do some wrist work here. So I'm going to turn, actually we can both turn towards the camera so that you guys can actually see what we're doing. So I'm just in tabletop just like I was before. I'm going to turn my wrists out, my fingers out to 3 and 9 o'clock. Fingers spread wide, wrists stay on the ground. The closer your wrists are together, the harder it is. The further your wrists are apart, you want to start probably like shoulder distance. Without lifting the wrist, we're going to slowly bend side to side. This can be even slower than your breath. I want you to be extra, extra careful with your wrists here. So it's going to feel uncomfortable. It might even hurt. So we are kind of learning, so we've been working with discomfort. If you show up to a yoga class, you're working with discomfort, no matter what, or any fitness class really. So, but here we're going to move into like, what are the different types of pain? Any sharp pain, is something we want to avoid. It's not like, oh my gosh, I failed, I felt sharp pain. It's just like, oh, okay, cool, I'm not going to go that much further into that. I'm not going to go that far. The edge is right before that. But it's okay. Like with wrists, like it's going to hurt a little bit. But you want to be at like a 7, maybe an 8, not at a 10. And the next time you're leaned over your right wrist, hold it there and the breathing continues. The elbows stay straight. And then we shift the weight over to the left. Still, the wrists are, the palms are touching the ground, so don't let it lift. Fingers are spread wide. We're just breathing here into the weight of the left arm, left hand. Bring it back to the middle. Tuck the toes under to come up to kneeling, but seated on top of the feet. And then fingers interlace, and it's just like wrist flossing. This is a thing. Just making a figure 8, elbows stay close to one another as we stretch out the feet. So if you don't feel much of a stretch, just lean back a little bit. Just like engage this, lean back a little bit. If you do feel it, then you're already there.
Gamer stance like this all day.
Yeah.
Wrists are tight.
Yeah, for everyone who plays video games or types all day at work, this is undoing it. Or, you know, scrolls all day. That's also a part-time job, full-time job for some of us. All right, back into our tabletop pose. I was just turning to the side so you guys could see, but whatever direction works for you. I'm going to turn the hand under, fingers towards my knees. Okay. You know your body better than I do, so just pay attention. This is intense, but is it possible to bring the other hand under? And if you're like, absolutely not, then just do one hand and I'll tell you when to switch. From here, the next step is to straighten your arms out. So likely you're here to make this happen. That's okay. Now we're working towards straightening them out, and then you'll know they're straight because the inside, right, the eye of your elbow, right, so this is the pointy part, this is the inside, faces forward. That's your demarcation that you are straight in the arms. So just here, that's the next step. If you were doing one arm at a time, don't super worry about doing this whole thing. Just work on playing with the amount of pressure that's being put on it. All right, you can go ahead and switch over. So if you had the right hand tucked under, go ahead, tuck the left hand under instead in replacement. If you are here and you're like, yeah, my arms are totally straight, I got this, like it's intense, but you can start to lean back. Like the smallest amount to begin. This is all slow motion. There's no rush, there's no race, there's really no reward or award for having the most flexible or resilient wrist. You just, have less of a chance of shattering your wrist if, God forbid, you fall on ice or something like that, right? So you just got one more deep breath here. If you're leaning back, bring it forward, untuck one hand, and then the other. Whew. Sit back on the heels, toes tucked under. And now it's almost like you're washing your hands like they do in all those like ER. Actually, we might have a nurse or two in the stream right now. So I'm probably doing a horrible job, but like when they like wash up to their elbows, I like push the blood back into my wrists from all the way my forearms just to get some warmth into that part of my body. Good wrist work, everyone. Okay. So. Here we go. So, facing the short end of the mat. Do you want to go in front? Or, yeah, just go side to side like this. Right foot steps up between the hands, and left foot steps up between the hands. And we bring the feet nice and wide, like almost mat's distance apart. Knees are nice and bent. Oh, so I can see chat. There we go. And just letting my knees bend one at a time here. This first forward fold, really just beginning to ease into it. I just like to bend one knee and let my body kind of flow to that side. And then both knees stay bent and nod my head yes. If I'm feeling anything in my lower back or hamstrings, I just bend my knees even more. Shake my head no. And grab opposite elbows, creating a little frame for the head. And then go back to that movement, that swaying side to side for ragdoll. Once again, no wrong or right way of doing this. We're just inviting the body into this first major forward fold. Releasing the arms. Heel toe the feet together. Big toes come to touch. A little space between the heels so the ankles don't knock together. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on shins. Crown of the head's reaching towards the front of the room. Tailbone's reaching towards the back, elongating the spine. Deep breath in here. Exhale, fold. And inhale, rolling all the way up to stand. One vertebra at a time. Heavy head comes up last. Arms sweep up when you get there. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Head tilts back to follow the fingers. Exhale, forward fold. Soften the knees. Folding in half, hinging from the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on shins. And exhale, hands down to the ground. Right foot takes a giant step back. We'll gently release the right knee down to the mat and untuck the right toes. There we go. Let's see. Left knee is over left ankle. And we're pressing it up to our low lunge. So shoulders come up over the hips. Anjaneyasana. Let's find our spacing here. The closer your knee is to your front foot, more of like a marriage proposal pose this is, right? The more stable it will be. The further that knee is back, the deeper the stretch in the front right thigh. But if you go so far back that you lose balance, or that it's like in perpetual pain, or you have to arch your lower back really dramatically to make that happen, just bring it in a bit, right? So we're talking about going 100% every time. Sometimes 100% looks different than you think. And here, we're just working on tucking the hips a bit. So instead of being in a back bend here, we're tucking the hips in. Pressing, and you should feel this stretch on the right thigh even more. Arms can come up overhead. You're just not about music today. Okay. Deep breath in here. And exhale, high twist to the left. That's towards the bent knee. Arms come parallel like the letter T. Inhale brings you back up through center. Same side, twist left. Inhale, back through center.
And last time, twist left. Stay here for the inhale. On the exhale, the left hand might come down to the lower back, and right arm reaches up towards the sky. So we're in a twisted back bend. That left hand also might come down to the calf or the thigh, really wherever feels stable and good. We're stretching out that whole right side body for a deep breath in, reaching through the fingertips. And exhale, bring it back through center. Letter T, Anjaneyasana. And hands release down to the inside of the left foot. Here we're just giving a couple butterfly flaps out. So I'm turning, I'm dropping the knee out onto the pinky side edge of the foot. Just a couple times here. This is great because now I have another side view. All right, next time that knee opens up, you can stay here in our lizard pose, or option to bring the back foot in. Oh, this is great, because now we can show both sides. You might bring that back foot in, listening to your knees over my voice, and then we played with this in our tabletop before. The left arm sweeps around to grab the top of that foot. That's gonna be your right. Nope, sorry, yeah, your left arm.
That's mostly a note for me, folks. Well, actually,
Other side. So your left arm reaches back. So there's discomfort and there's excruciating pain. If you're in excruciating pain, just stay in that lizard pose. It's very much intense enough. If you're feeling like you got a little more space to play here, you can either bring the heel in towards the glute for a quad stretch, or kick the foot into the hand, giving the left shoulder and chest a stretch. And we'll gently release, avoiding the slingshot. Hands come back to the inside of the foot. Release the foot down. Knee comes up over ankle. Hands come to frame the foot. Right toes tuck under. And left leg gets sent back for a plank pose. Here we'll drop, you can do a chaturanga, but if you're taking it easy today, we're just going to drop the knees, chin, chest, and come down to the belly. Elbows come underneath the shoulders. We're going into our Sphinx pose. So I'm creating a 90-degree angle here on the arm. Glutes are squeezed tight. They're pressing into the earth. Tops of the feet are pressed into the ground so hard that the knees are lifted. I'm pressing my chest forward and open. So I'm trying to drag myself forward. That's how hard my forearms are pressing into the earth. Deep breath in, shoulders away from the ears. And then puppy pose. Instead of coming into downward facing dog, you can go into puppy today. Keep it nice and low, close to the ground. And what that looks like is knees bend, hips come over the knees. And then we drop the chest and chin towards the ground. So if it hurts to have your chin on the ground, you can always bring your forehead to the ground instead. And tops of the hands are pressing into the ground so hard that the elbows are trying to stay lifted, giving the upper back a deep stretch. Just got a deep breath here and out. And we'll press it up to tabletop pose. Nice. Right arm sweeps up and open. And exhale, weave it through for thread the needle pose. Coming to land on that right shoulder, right side of the head. So breathing there, using the bottom arm like a kickstand. The harder you press, just relocating, just allocating where the nicest, deepest stretch is in that right shoulder. And pressing the other hand into the ground, keeping the chest open. Maybe it extends, overhead for another arm variation, whatever feels best to you. And then we're releasing in reverse. Left hand presses in front of the face, right arm sweeps open. And extend the hand, or release the hand down to the ground. Then left arm sweeps open. Exhale, weave the arm through, landing the left shoulder, left side of the face on the ground. Right hand's pressing into the earth, keeping the chest open. We're just pressing into the ground nice and strong with that left arm, giving the left shoulder blade a stretch. Right hand presses into the ground, left arm opens up towards the sky. Release that hand down to the mat. Right foot takes a step forward between the hands. Left foot steps up to meet it. Big toes come to touch, a little space between the ankles. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale rolls you all the way up to stand. Arms sweep up when you get there. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Maybe chest tilts back a bit for a little baby back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Soften the knees to protect the lower back. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands down to the ground. Left foot takes a giant step back. Gently release the left knee down to the mat. And you might untuck those toes if that feels okay for your knee. Bringing chest and shoulders up over the hips for our Anjaneyasana low lunge. And check it out here, finding that spacing no matter what. The knee stays over the ankle. We're just giving a little tuck of the hips, so we're trying to elongate the back. So we're avoiding that like Daffy Duck, like butt sticking out thing by engaging the lower abs. And that's going to bring that press, that stretch into the front left thigh, bring more stability to our lunge, and arms come up overhead with a deep breath in. Exhale, drop shoulders away from the ears. Another deep breath in. High twist to the right on your exhale. Arms open like the letter T. Inhale back through center. Exhale, twist. Same side. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. We're holding it here and the breathing continues. So anytime we hold, we're not holding the breath. Word. Daffy has a severe anterior pelvic tilt. This is true. So we're going to drop the right hand and let the left arm rise for this twisted back bend. So breathing fully here. This hand can also be on the lower back for stability. Don't feel like it has to touch the ground or anything like that. Really, we're just looking for the stretch in the whole left side body. We've got one more deep breath here. And then like pressing rewind, release the arms through the letter T, back up through center, Anjani Asana, and hands come down to the inside of the right foot. Great. Now I'm just turning so you guys can get a different view. Hands are on the inside, and I'm just going to let this knee begin to open and close, and I'm rolling out to the pinky side edge of this foot as the knee allows. So really, what I'm focusing on, usually when I'm checking in with, is my joints. Like, is my ankle okay here? Is my knee okay here? Are my wrists okay here? Things like that. Versus were my muscles telling me to stop? It can be easier to build that relationship, that line of conversation with the joints than it is with the muscles, which sometimes they'll just be like, nope, we're out, and give up on you before it's actually time, like in our chair poses and stuff like that. So we're just building communication, building that relationship with the body. Next time the knee comes out, just allow it to stay there, lizard pose. Option here to bend in the left knee, and then the right arm is reaching back. So same side as the knee that's bent out, reaching back for that back foot. So it's full breathing here. Once you've got that grip, you can either bring the foot in towards the glutes for a really deep quad stretch, or kick the foot into the hand to get a chest and shoulder stretch on the right side. More breathing here. We're going to release nice and gentle without slingshotting the foot back. It gently lands down. The hand comes forward into the inside. Knee comes up over ankle. I'll bring the hands to frame that front foot. And step the right foot back to meet the left in plank pose. Full breath in here, pressing the ground away. And the exhale, chaturanga, or today you can just drop knees, chin, chest, and then press it up through our Sphinx pose. So elbows are below the shoulders, chest is pressing through, glutes are squeezed tight, tops of the feet pressed into the ground so hard that the knees stay lifted. Or you can be in an upward facing dog here if you want a more intense version of class. And we're just breathing here, deep breath in. Look over the right shoulder on the exhale. Inhale through center. Exhale left. Inhale center. And then puppy pose on the exhale. Bend in the knees, send the hips up. Chin and chest pressing down towards the ground. So as I'm pressing my hands into the ground, it's like I'm trying to get my armpits to touch the floor. Like they're not going to, but like that's the direction of the body. And I'm trying to round my lower back. So I'm trying to get my lower back to do this cat pose while my armpits are trying to touch the ground. So it's not going to be really obvious what that looks like, but what it feels like is a deep, deep, deep stretch in the shoulders. So I'm trying to round my lower back while my upper back is arched. Full breathing here. Mouth, chin, or forehead on the ground is totally acceptable. And then big toes come to touch. Walk the hands back, bring the knees out wide, and sit the hips back towards the heels for child's pose. Landing on the forehead, bring your arms down by your sides. Or they can go through the middle. I like going through the middle and just like having them like hang out on my feet. Just give your shoulders a freaking break.
Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Once more like that. And hands press into the ground, bringing you back upright. Coming to a tabletop pose. Left foot steps up between the hands. Right foot steps up to meet it. Big toes come to touch. A little space between the ankles. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale brings you all the way up to stand. Heavy head comes up last. Arms sweep up when you get there. And release hands to heart center. You can take a moment here to take a sip of water. Coming to a short little standing part of class. We won't be standing long, don't worry. Keep it. Cool. So we're coming to meet facing one another.
Did you make more hot chocolate?
No. It's dandelion tea. Highly recommend if you're trying to go caffeine-free dandelion tea.
I was gonna say that's a romantic way to start the morning.
Yeah, I made myself hot chocolate. No.
Chocolate in you.
I would though. I have. I would and I have, but not today. So here, we're bringing the hands onto the hips, and the right knee opens out to the side. We'll drag the foot in towards the ankle, and you can still be pressed. You can have the toes tucked under here, so you have a little more surface area on the ground. And then just notice, did this right hip drop down? Don't let it. You want hips to stay level. Maybe you drag the foot up enough so that the tip toe is just barely grazing the ground. Or maybe you bring the calf all the way up, the foot all the way up to the calf. And if this is true, just squeezing the glutes tight, keeping the knee open. Don't let the knee come forward. Keeping the knee all the way to the side, completely flat, like you're between two panes of glass. We do that by squeezing the glutes. Okay. Potentially, it would feel good, or you might want to bring the foot to the inner thigh. You can use your hand to make that happen. Just avoid the knee. Right? So it's like really tempting to get this arch of the foot on the knee, but it's terrible for your ACL, I believe it is. LCL. One of those CL things that's on your knee, the band that holds the outside
I
part.
believe ACL outside, MCL inside.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's like, it's bad for your knee. Maybe not the first time, maybe not the first 100 times, but eventually it'll catch up to you, and let's not do that. We want to build resiliency here.
I've got a funny left knee, so my legs are different.
Yeah. And so we're squeezing the glutes, we're pressing the hips forward. Once again, we're engaging this lower abdominal part to press the hips forward. The foot and the leg, no matter where the foot is, ankle, calf, or thigh, are squeezing together super tight, like you're holding a postcard between it. You don't want it to go anywhere. We're going to release in reverse. Just letting the foot slowly slide down, float down, and land. Avoid the temptation to immediately shake out the standing leg. Just give it a moment. And then if you still need to shake it out or want to, go ahead and do that. Just want to do it intentionally. You don't want to do it automatically. Left knee opens out to the side, or practicing not doing it automatically. There's nothing wrong with like living on autopilot. But if it's something you'd like to avoid in the rest of your life, here's a good place to practice it. Drag the foot in towards the ankle. Notice if that hip is dropped. And keep the hips nice and square. Maybe the foot drags up a bit. The ankle. This can be a harder position to be in than the foot up at the thigh. can feel like, oh, like this is like beginner, intermediate, advanced, or something like that. I promise. Foot up at the thigh is not advanced. There's so many poses past that. There's always more. There's no like real end. The beginning is just you entering the pose. Is that Leaf? Good morning, Leaf. Welcome back to class. Great to see you. Maybe the foot slides up to the calf. We're squeezing through the glutes, keeping the hip open. And this takes actually a little bit more muscle to squeeze in towards center because there's not that pressure where you bring your foot up to your inner thigh. There's like this squeeze that's kind of already happening by the hips pressing forward and in. So we're really using the fulcrum of the heel into the inner thigh as leverage to keep that leg up and in place. Maybe the hands come to heart center. This is called vrksasana, tree pose. And the hands go where it works for you. I think that hands at heart center is a great place to start because I can also squeeze my hands in towards center. It's a nice wrist stretch, you know? But also, by bringing all of the energy in towards center line, there is like a consistency with the body, all pulling in. And I feel like it helps with balance. And then we'll release in reverse, nice and gentle, floating the foot down. Taking a moment here just to wait before you shake anything out. And then we're going to go ahead and just shake everything out because we're heading into our lymphatic shake part of the class. So just begin to give a bounce. If you're out in the mountains, then this is great because you can really scream without freaking out your roommates or your neighbors. Maybe a couple campers will be freaked out by you. So we're just giving it a little jump. If jumping is like not your thing, you can just lift the heels and drop them down enough to give a little reverberation. Oh yeah, Lucy loves this. She always stares.
So excited about this right now.
She literally watches me every single morning when I do this and just smiles and wags her tail. So we're building up some heat, building up some motion in the body. I just like lifting my shoulders and dropping them, shaking hands out, shaking the legs out. So we're just trying to get as much jiggle as possible. Right now, Luna joining me. Yeah, awesome. So Luna's a husky. Luna's also joining in the jumping, of course. Metal dogs all around the country. All right, we're coming into our 4-part breath, our breath of joy. And it looks like full body twerking. Yeah, basically, yeah. I like from your fingertips to the top of your head. Yeah, it's very sexy. So we're going to go into our 4-part breath there. Breath of joy. And what that looks like is a sip of air in, so there's no exhale in between. So 30% of your air capacity in, a sip of air in, another third of your air capacity in. Arms come out, then arms come forward, the rest of your air capacity in, and a big ha. Arms sweep back. So it's like chair pose with skiing arms. So we go in, ha! 10 of those. In, ha! In, ha! 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 Halfway. Ha! Ha! 3 more. You haven't joined in yet. This is your opportunity. Ha! Ha! Last one, make it count.
One hand comes to land on the heart, one hand comes to land on the belly. Feet are like shoulder distance apart, maybe even your eyes come to close. You can breathe through the mouth. If you've been just breathing in and out through the nose all of class, let that go for a moment here. So, what came up for you? What shows up? Increase in body temperature, increase in breath rate, heart rate. What else? Just took the snow globe of your body, of your life, and gave it a righteous shake. What does that disruption to all that glitter dust reveal? We'll gently blink the eyes open. Walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, arms rise up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And exhale, hands down to the ground, folding, bending the knees deep, 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 all the way to come to seated. How do I do this? So usually I turn my mat like this. You're okay, bud.
For Savasana?
For like all the ground parts and Savasana, yeah, just so I'm closer.
I can just be here.
Oh, you could just be right behind, if you don't mind. And then, because we're not laying down yet, we still got a couple more poses, so to say.
Oh, this way. Gotcha.
Yeah, we're just this
I
way.
wasn't sure what you're facing.
So as we come to seated, let's just come into reclining, guys. Let's just give a hug in towards the chest. I'm spinning while doing it. Yeah, totally. Spinning is totally allowed, encouraged. Do you? Oh, when it comes to lymphatic shaking, there's no wrong answers. You see the tailback down there. So here you can give the knees a nice circle out. And circle in. And the feet come up towards the sky. And from the inside, grab the feet for happy baby. And here I just like to rock side to side. So I'm trying to press my lower back into the ground, but really I'm just kind of giving myself a general rock side to side. Might feel good to extend one leg, so as I extend one leg I roll onto the opposite side and the other, but that's not mandatory. It's a little free movement. It's called happy baby pose for a reason. You kind of just roll it around, just, I don't know, being happy, you know? Alright. Now we'll release the grip from the feet. Heels come in towards the hips, feet touch down to the ground, hands release down by the sides as if they're going to grab the feet. Shoulders tuck under and an inhale. Hips rise up towards the sky. We're peeling the spine away from the ground, one vertebra at a time for our bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. So our hips are pressed up, lower back, middle back, upper back, tuck the shoulders under, maybe the fingers interlace, and I'm pressing the forearms into the ground, pressing the fists into the ground to get even a little bit more lift. Full breathing here. Last squeeze through the glutes, last lift up through the hips, deepest expression of the pose. And then exhaling, I gently release down. I untuck the shoulders
And I roll down one vertebra at a time. Knees come in towards center. And I'll drop the knees over to the right. Right hand lands on the left knee. Left arm opens up like the letter T. You can look over the left fingers for a complete spinal twist. Supta Matsyendrasana. Reclining spinal twist.
The high five. It's precious.
Lucy's very excited that you joined us for class today, Pat.
She's hanging with me outside. Right? Usually we're coming back from our walk.
So then head comes up through center, knees come up through center. Gently release the knees over to the left. Left hand lands on top of the right knee. Right arm opens up like the letter T. You can even look over that hand for an even stretch. So the whole body is relaxed here. The only effort that's happening is my right shoulder's pressing down towards the ground. Otherwise, the whole body's relaxed, letting gravity do the work. There's nowhere to go, nowhere to get to here. Head comes up through center, knees come up through center. And just notice, is there any last movement, stretch, or wiggle that your body's asking for? It doesn't have to have a fancy yoga name, it doesn't have to have a name at all. You can just intuitively move through it. That would balance out your practice. That would make you feel like rounded out by it all. As we prepare for Savasana, whatever that looks like is just right for you. We're building up that relationship, that conversation between you and your body. Anything that called out for your attention in the beginning of class that maybe wasn't addressed yet, now's the time. You might put on a blanket or socks as body temperature does lower during this next pose, during Savasana.
My body requires
You might want to wait till coffee until after.
Savasana, you sure? That's what it wants.
I'm sure. Do you want to lay in the back like that? If you want, you can lay on the side.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
I have my back to you. Okay. I'm going to be seated up so I can play some singing bowls for you. But you please stay reclining in a comfortable position. Yeah. Feet come to land at least a foot apart. If laying flat on your back brings any pain to your lower back, then just place a pillow underneath the knees to keep a bend in them, and that'll relieve any of that tension. Legs are so relaxed that the feet splay open to the sides. Shoulders are tucked under, supporting your upper back. And the arms release down by the sides, at least 6 inches from the body. Palms face open to the sky. A symbol, a mudra of receptivity. Allow yourself to receive the full benefits of your effort here today. Eyes can close if that's comfortable. Or a soft gaze to the ceiling is also fine. Not looking at anything in particular. And we'll start this practice just like we did in the beginning of class, with 3 cleansing breaths. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Allow your breathing to continue in and out through the nose if that's available. And let the exhalations become longer and deeper than your inhalations. Invite space between top and bottom teeth as the jaw hangs heavy. And the tongue falls away from the roof of the mouth, a symbol of chitta vritti, monkey mind. So just let that go. Muscles of the cheeks and jaw all relax. Nose and nostrils relax. And eyes rest heavy in their sockets. Eyelids just barely touching. And the space between the eyebrows broadens. As all the muscles in the forehead relax. And all the muscles surrounding the ears, top and back of the head melt away. Neck and throat relax. Shoulders melt away. Upper arms and elbows release. Forearms and wrists relax. Palms, backs of the hands, knuckles, fingers, fingertips, fingernail beds. Whole hands alive with vibration. Whole hands alive with creative potential. Rest and integrate all that you practice. Upper back, middle and lower back. Rest heavy, supported by the ground below. Chest, naturally rising and falling, perhaps imperceptibly. Heart and lungs functioning without your direct command. And yet, lifeblood flows through your veins. Atmosphere is transformed into oxygen. Belly naturally rises and falls with the breath. pelvis, glutes, hips, rest heavy, grounded. Upper legs and knees relax. Lower legs and ankles release. Heels, arches, toe ball mounds, tops of the feet and toes, whole of the feet. Relax. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. Whole body rests. This happiness consisted of nothing else but the harmony of the flow, few things around me, with my own existence. A feeling of contentment and well-being that needed no changes and no intensification. No changes and no intensification. Allow for everything that did and did not happen in class today. And know that in yoga, practice makes practice. Nothing more, nothing less. Invite your inhalations to become longer and deeper than your exhalations. That feeling of heaviness and pressing down into the ground, replace the feeling of openness and expansion. Awareness lifting to the surface, front side of the body. Fingers begin to wiggle and toes. And as the breath deepens, head can gently turn side to side. And arms reach up overhead for a full body stretch. And let the knees bend and roll over to whichever side feels natural, landing in a fetal position, fully released and fully supported by the earth below you. Bring to mind any intention or dedication you set for class today, or here's an opportunity to set one right now. And if that intention inspires you, take it with you off the mat and into the world. Allow it to affect you and the people around you for the rest of your day. With eyes still closed or gently lowered, press your hands into the ground using as little effort as possible to come up to seated, just like how we started class. Hands come to meet at heart center, palms pressed together in Anjali Mudra. Today we worked on a slow flow class with deep hip opening stretches. The first namaste is said silently to yourself, thanking your body for the effort it put into class. And the second namaste is said out loud to everyone that held this space, to one another. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone who joined me this morning, or maybe this evening for you, for class today. I appreciate your presence. Presence of your energy makes a difference, digitally, virtually, or in real life. You too, kiddo. The VIP. You know, she's usually just nice and relaxed. Love you. Momo. So glad you're here in class today. Good to see ya.
Hey, Mama. I get a baby. Very classic.
Thank you for joining me.
Halfway through, I thought you were going to take us into, I don't know, I was feeling like King Pigeon, and I was like, nah, dude, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
And then
definitely warmed
and then
up
it was
enough.
just the toe grab. I was like, okay, I can do that.
Happy baby?
No, in low lunge.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I said we were going to do a gentle class. I always say that, and it was not really a gentle class, was it?
Yeah, it was gentle. It was pretty gentle. I was, I've been running and sitting a lot and not doing a lot of stretching in between, so that was good though. I feel back to limber, normal self.
You looked great, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. You're pretty flexible.
Yeah, I don't lose it that bad. It's like I'm like a rubber. I used to be really, really not
Like more rigid.
flexible person. Yeah, I was really, really rigid, especially during martial arts. But I'm like rubber now. I've been practicing yoga for like so long that once I get warmed up, like I'm malleable.
Yeah.
But if I don't warm up, I'm stiff, like a rubber band in the middle of winter.
We definitely do lots of warming up in this class. Got a thing.
Sam, leave the dog alone.
No, I don't want to leave her alone. I just want to bug her.
Talk to your viewers. Don't put your finger in your dog's face. Look, you can't even see her.
I know, she's a shadow. She's a shadow.
It's a random tongue licking.
Grumble,
She's a
grumble.
shadow. Oh, she loves it.
So glad you guys joined this morning. I hope you found something that serves you, something that serves you past class as well and into the rest of your day or your night, what it may be. Same time, same place tomorrow. We'll see what the energy's like. I might wake up with a little more energy tomorrow. We might start picking it up again. But I've kind of been loving these last, what is it, today's Wednesday? Last 3-4 days of just taking it a little easy, just doing some deeper stretches. But we are going to start picking it up again. The quote that I read, by the way, is a Hermann Hesse quote from the book Siddhartha, which was
I was wondering
my
what that
favorite
was.
book.
It sounded familiar.
Yeah, it's a good one. So yeah, I can always text you that if you guys are interested.
Probably favorite book of last year.
Yeah, it's a
Did I
good
read in
one.
2019 or 2020? I think I read it last year. Definitely my favorite book of whatever year I read it.
It was, that book super changed my life. I mean, it's what got me into meditation and and yoga and all of that, even though it's Buddhism, but he actually like leaves with a bunch of ascetics to practice like yoga and all sorts of stuff. So I don't know, the whole spiritual path, spiritual life thing. Once I got super burnt by Christianity, because I like loved that story with Jesus.
I thought it was a story about Buddha, but it's not. It's a story about a guy who becomes enlightened. So you could say he becomes a Buddha. So it's even better, I think. If you're like, oh, I mean, you could just look up, you could just Google the story of Buddha and see what happened. But it's actually way better than that. It's about a guy who's kind of in the Buddhist original situation. He's like a prince. And it's nice to see the whole journey through his perspective of becoming enlightened. I'll tell you, it's not a smooth ride. Siddhartha.
By Herman Hesse. That was the book that I quoted during Savasana. Siddhartha by Herman Hesse, yeah.
Read it. That's your homework. Don't come to class next week tomorrow.
Next week, tomorrow. You have one day to read it.
So come to class tomorrow if you haven't read it.
Cancel everything. I mean, just like for perspective, I read this book in like 6th, maybe 7th grade. So it's not, I don't think it's like normal 6th grade reading, but it is accessible. Like,
yeah, and
you know what I mean? Like, it's not like that long.
And if you, like, I think you should get the book and read it because it's nice to do it slowly and, like, actually take it all in. But something I've been realizing is that there's a bunch of books on audio for free on YouTube. You can pick up all sorts of famous books. Like, I read the Book of 5 Rings. I read Art of War. I read all sorts of books, like, overnight while I was painting. So check it out. Siddhartha might be already translated and read out loud on YouTube. But pick up the book if you can. It's a nice thing to just have. It's like one of those books you can, it's a fictional book, but you can, like, highlight it and read quotes and really use it as a tool. It's a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Been looking for more Buddhist type readings. Yeah, and it's really accessible. It's written like a story. It's a fiction book, right? So like a storybook. So it's really easy to get into, I think. Yeah. Got anything good going on today, Landon? Plans for the rest of the day?